Rendezvous with Ray. This is an article published in the Frontline magazine between July 29 and August 11 in 2006. Frontline is a fortnightly magazine. It means it is published every 2 weeks. Fortnightly, every 2 weeks. In this article, Gaston Roberge shares his experience with the great director Satyajit Ray. Let me read this first. It was a unique friendship that developed between a French-Canadian priest and one of the world's greatest film directors, and had a singular impact on Bengali films both academically and practically. It was en route to India in 1961 at a stopover in New York. That 26-year-old Father Gaston Roberge was acquainted with the works of Satyajit Ray through the Apu trilogy. He found the world of Apu so fascinating that he saw all 3 films in one sitting, and there began his long-standing love affair with the people of India and Bengali cinema and culture, which led to the path-breaking work in those fields. In his latest book, Satyajit Ray, Essays 1970 to 2005, a compilation of his essays, as the name suggests, being published by Manohar Publishers, New Delhi, Roberge provides a scholarly, original analysis of Ray's works, giving an insight into the greatness of Ray, both as a person and as an artist. Here, Rendezvous is an arrangement to meet someone. Look at this here. Here the article is titled Rendezvous with Ray because it is about Roberge's meetings with Satyajit Ray. Their friendship is considered unique. Let's look at the word unique. It means very special and unusual. It means we don't find any other such thing like this friendship. Let's see why their friendship is unique and special. Gaston Roberge was born in Canada in a French-speaking family. He is a priest. Satyajit Ray was a Bengali film director. Even though their fields are completely different, there was a friendship between them. Let's see the phrase singular impact here. Singular means outstanding. Impact means influence. The friendship between them had a great influence on Bengali films both academically and practically. Now, let's look at the words academically, practically. Well, to understand it, or to understand them, we should discuss the words academic and practical. Academic is nothing but learning things by reading and studying. The association between Ray and Roberge influenced the way the filmmaking was taught and learned. Practically means in a practical way. It means the way films were made also changed as a result of the friendship between Satyajit Ray and Roberge. Now, let's look at this here. It was en route to India in 1961, at a stopover in New York. Here it refers to the friendship between Roberge and Ray. En route means on the way. A stopover here means a stop in one's journey. Let us understand this. Let us see what really happened. As a member of the Society of Jesus, Gaston Roberge decided to come to India. While coming to India, he had to spend a night in New York and then take a boat to India. He found in the newspapers that the Apu trilogy was being shown in a theatre close to the hotel where he was staying. You know the Apu trilogy. That's a group of 3 films. We'll discuss that later. He watched all 3 films in one sitting. The 3 films are Pathar Panchali, which was made in 1955, and Pathar Panchali means the song of the little road. And the next movie was made in 1956 and it was titled Aparajito, which means the unconquered. And the last one of the series, the Apu trilogy, is Apur Sansar, which means Apu's world, and it was made in 1959. Now here, the friendship between them led to path-breaking changes in Bengali cinema. It means the friendship brought new and innovative changes in Bengali cinema. Let's look at the next one. Roberge compiled or collected essays on Satyajit Ray with the name Satyajit Ray Essays 1970 to 2005. Now look at this word compilation here. That's the act of collecting or compiling something, putting things together. The book was published by Manohar Publishers, New Delhi. Let's move on. In this book, Roberge gives us great knowledge and deeper understanding of the greatness of Satyajit Ray, both as a person and as an artist. Let's look at the next one. This paragraph is only for Telangana students. This is excluded from Andhra syllabus. Let me read this first. The Apu trilogy was, in fact, my first portal to West Bengal and its people, he told Frontline. In his youth, all he knew of Bengal was through Mircea Eliade's La Nude Bengali, some of Tagore's poems, and a Reader's Digest article on Mother Teresa. If the harsh image of poverty brought out by the article on the saint of the slums haunted him, Apu's world came as a reassurance. No, Apu, Sarbajaya, even Harihar did not need my help. But how not to love them? I thought it was fortunate that I would soon be among them, he wrote. Here, Roberge says that the Apu trilogy was his first portal to West Bengal. Here, portal means an entrance to a building or something. Now here it's not building, his entry into Bengali people or Bengal. Here it means Roberge was first introduced to Bengal through the Apu trilogy. He told the Frontline magazine, he told the Frontline magazine reporter. When Roberge was even younger, he came to know about Bengal through a book titled La Nude Bengali, which means the Bengal Nights, written by a Romanian poet, a poet that belonged to Romania. So a Romanian poet, La Nude Bengali means the Bengal Nights. He shared his experiences in Bengal when he stayed there. Thus, that is how Roberge knew something about Bengal. Not just this, but he also happened to read an article about Mother Teresa published in the Reader's Digest. Here, Reader's Digest is an American general interest family magazine published every month. Let's move on to the next one. This article brought out harsh image of poverty, which means it presented or showed the poverty of Bengali people. The saint of the slums here is Mother Teresa. This article about Bengali people's poverty haunted him. Here, haunted means it kept coming to his mind. He was obsessed with that. The thought of Bengali people's poverty was coming to his mind again and again. He could not stop thinking of it. This Apu's world came as a reassurance. It means what he read in the Reader's Digest article was confirmed by Apu trilogy because the three films showed poverty of Bengali people. Look at these words. Roberge says, no, Apu, Sarbajaya, even Harihar did not need my help. But how not to love them? Here, Apu is the main character. Sarbajaya is Apu's mother and Harihar is his father. When Roberge says this, he means that the family managed to live in their poverty and they do not need any help, but Roberge likes them a lot. Let's move on. Roberge does not endorse the accusation of race detractors that the master director made his reputation selling India's poverty to the West. What struck me most was not the material poverty depicted in the films, but the enormous spiritual poverty of some rich people is much more deplorable than material poverty. He said, Roberge does not speak with the arrogance of the West. I was here on a quest to know the world and in the process know myself. I did not come here to convert. In fact, I am the one who got converted, he said. Okay, Roberge does not endorse the accusation. Here, endorse means to publicly support a person or a statement. But the sentence here is Roberge does not support, does not endorse. Here, accusation means blame. Detractors are people who criticize others. So, detractors criticize other people. Now, here, Roberge does not support the blame or accusation made by Ray's critics, Ray's detractors. They all said that Ray made a lot of name and fame by showing India's poverty to the West. Now, how did he show Indian poverty to the West? Well, by showing Indian poverty in his films to the Western people. Now, let's move. But Roberge felt differently. He said that he was not worried about the material poverty described or depicted or shown in the films, or in the film, in three films. Here, depicted means described. He said spiritual poverty is bad when compared to material poverty. Let's understand what these two types of poverty are. Material poverty is real physical poverty. It means lack of real money and property. Spiritual poverty is not being able to know the true nature of reality and ourselves. Or you can also say spiritual poverty means not being kind and generous. Now here Roberge means to say that some people who are materially rich, physically rich, are not kind and generous, and he does not feel happy about those people who are spiritually poor. Look at the next lines here. Roberge does not speak with the arrogance of the West. Here arrogance means rudeness. He does not speak with rudeness as most of the Westerners do. He also said that he did not come here, to India, to convert people, but he got converted. Means here he changed. He said that he came to India as part of his quest to know the world. Here quest means here search. He was searching for something, some kind of knowledge, and he came to India and he got converted. He did not come here to convert. But here we have to understand the meaning of convert. Here conversion has two meanings. One is converting people's religion. The other is converting people's culture. He did not come here to India to do any of these, but he was attracted to Indian culture and got converted to it. He adopted Indian culture. Okay, let's move further. Let me read this paragraph first. But it took him 9 years after reaching Calcutta, now Kolkata, and joining St. Xavier's College to muster up the confidence to meet Ray in person. Although I wanted to meet him right away, I didn't want to just go and see him like he was a living museum piece. I wanted to prepare myself, get to know his works more, so that when we met, there could be a worthwhile dialogue, he said. When they finally met, it was the beginning of a close friendship that lasted 22 years until Ray's death in 1992. Wonderful. Roberge waited 9 years to meet Ray, or before he met Ray. What was he doing all these years? Well, he was mustering up the confidence. It means, muster up means gather confidence. He was trying to gather confidence to meet Satyajit Ray. Now here, Roberge says that Satyajit Ray was not a living museum piece, so that he could go and meet him easily. Let's understand what a living museum piece is. Look at this here. A living museum is a type of museum which recreates historical settings to stimulate past time periods, providing visitors with an experiential interpretation of history. It's a type of museum that recreates to the fullest extent conditions of a culture, natural environment, or a historical period. So it just shows what happened in the history of the world. So by looking at the pictures or maybe statues in the living museum, we can recall what happened in the history. So Satyajit Ray was not a living museum piece. Look at this here. Roberge thought that Ray was not just a figure which is installed in a living museum. He was a living legend. That is why he wanted to know more about Satyajit Ray, to have an important conversation with him. Right? Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Here Roberge wanted to have a worthwhile dialogue with Satyajit Ray. Worthwhile means important, very important. Their friendship lasted 22 years. It means it existed. It continued to exist for 22 years. Why do you think the friendship stopped or ended? It's because Satyajit Ray died. in 1992.